For the past 15 years, I've been a professional hypnotherapist. And in that time, I've helped thousands of people break through mental barriers, access their subconscious mind, and completely transform their life. Over those 15 years, I've learned a lot of lessons. And today, I'm going to share with you the 15 most powerful lessons I've learned in 15 years of hypnotherapy. You're about to change your life. Let's get started. If we haven't met before, my name is Andy Eversole, a professional hypnotherapist. I use hypnosis to help people reprogram their subconscious mind to break bad habits, build confidence, and create a life of wealth, health, and freedom. So let's go ahead and jump into these 15 powerful lessons that are going to shift the way you think about your mind. Lesson number 1. Most people don't know what hypnosis actually is. People seem to think that hypnosis is some mysterious or magical process. It's not. It's just the way our brains naturally work as human beings. See, hypnosis is the name of the process that you use to take people into a trance state. Now, you go into trance hundreds if not thousands of times every day. You're already accessing this state. Here are a few times in your day that you access trance. Right when you wake up, that dreamy state. When you just awaken from sleep, you're in that dreamy state. That is a subconscious opening. That is a trance state that you can use for powerful transformation. Similarly, right before you go to sleep, you're already drifting off into sleep, and that window of time where your mind relaxes, your conscious mind lets go, your subconscious is open for programming. Also, other times, like they call highway hypnosis, if you're driving at night or on a long drive and your conscious mind is off daydreaming or thinking of something else, your subconscious is actually driving the car and getting you to your destination. And when you get there, you're like, how did I even get here? Your subconscious was driving the car. That is another form of hypnosis. Also, reading a book, you get so engrossed in the book that you forget everything else going on, or watching TV is a huge one. How many times have you tried to get a kid to do something when they're watching TV? They are zoned out, they're totally focused. That is a state of hypnosis. If you're in a movie theater and the movie's great and you're into it and you forget that you're surrounded by 100 other strangers watching the movie, that's another form of hypnosis. So you naturally go into trance states all day long, and what hypnosis does is actually use these trance states on purpose to create transformation, to reshift your subconscious mind, to shift your beliefs, your patterns, and your habits to create the change that you're looking for. Lesson number 2 is the reporting problem is often not the problem. Clients come to me all the time reporting this thing or that thing, thinking that that is really the problem, when the truth is, underneath that, deeper and deeper, is the source of that issue. And so what they're experiencing, whether that be anxiety or smoking or weight loss or any of these reporting issues they have, or insomnia, it most often, 99.9% of the time, goes even deeper to a subconscious pattern that they are running deeper in their subconscious. So a lot of times these come from our childhood, sometimes they come from traumatic experiences, sometimes just from suggestion or watching certain news or listening to certain things. Anything that goes into our mind can program our subconscious mind. And so the reporting problem that people bring to me, that what they want to work on, is often not the actual issue. So once we get down deeper, find out what that actually is, and make those changes, then those reporting problems usually just disappear altogether. Lesson number 3 is people think change is hard. I think we are somewhat programmed to think that change is hard because a lot of times there's a company behind that program that makes money on us believing that change is hard. For example, smoking. People have the belief very often that smoking is harder to quit than something like heroin. And it's simply not true. Smoking is much more of a habit of just having something in your hand, moving your hand to your mouth, having smoke, taking the ritual, taking the break from work or whatever you're doing to take some deep breaths and relax. That's what you're actually doing. That's the real habit that you have. The chemicals inside of cigarettes are not that addictive. They're out in 2 or 3 days. Of course, your body has done damage over years of smoking, and so as soon as you quit, it starts to heal itself. But a lot of times, the beliefs that change is hard, that quitting those kinds of things breaking bad habits is hard is because there's a lot of companies, a lot of people out there that don't want you to change. They want you to keep smoking. They want you to keep buying cigarettes. They want you to keep drinking. They want to keep you sick and going to the doctor. So, you know, they perpetrate a lot of those beliefs, and also we just have that too because we've been doing something that we don't want to do for so long. We've created a habit, we've created a pattern that's very deep, very strong, and we think it's really hard to change. But the truth is, change can happen in an instant. I've seen people transform their lives completely within a 1 hour, 1 hour and a half session. And definitely over several sessions, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions. I mean, completely new people. You change your identity and all those other habits just change completely. So change can happen very quickly as long as you are clear on what you want to do, are open to the process, and learn how to tap into the power of your subconscious mind. Lesson number 4, hypnosis isn't magic. The real work is done in the daily habits and daily behaviors. Very often people come to me for hypnosis and expect just some sort of magic trick to cure all of their ails. Like I can just wave a wand and completely vanish. That's not the case. You can do an amazing amount of work in a session simply by going into trance and letting the suggestions sink deep down into your subconscious mind. But the real work, the real magic, the real transformation happens in the daily practice and daily habits. Waking up and creating a morning routine that sets you up for the day. Doing some self-hypnosis, some meditation, repetitive actions that are leading you to your goals. Each day doing some movement and exercise. Eating good food you're gonna just lose weight naturally. You're gonna be healthy, you're gonna be strong. You know, if you have a goal or if you have a vision of financial abundance or a relationship, programming your subconscious mind daily with powerful visions, with those emotions, with those energies, that's how you program that into your mind, and that's how you create the reality you want. It's not some magic trick in the hypnosis chair. It's the daily actions, the daily behaviors, the daily thoughts that transform your beliefs. Because here's really is what is happening. When you repeat a pattern or behavior over and over and over again for years, you're creating neural pathways in your brain. It's like water that runs down a channel over millions of years forms huge caverns. That's what's happening in your brain. When you repeat a behavior over and over, you're creating neural pathways. When you change your behaviors, when you change your patterns, your habits, those old pathways dissolve and new ones start to form. When you change your habits, you're actually creating new brain matter, new neural pathways that send that electrical signal on that superhighway to make things even faster and even better. So keep that in mind. It's the daily practice, the daily habits, where the real magic takes place. Lesson number 5, hypnosis works on the power of belief. Now, this is amazing because a lot of people come and they know that the mind and body are really connected. They know the power of your thoughts, and they know that hypnosis is a tool that accesses that power and can create powerful change. A lot of times they've heard from another person who smoked for 40 years and did one session, quit smoking, or people who lost a lot of weight or let go of past traumas. So those suggestions from someone who's had success creates in themselves the power of belief that it's going to work. Some other people may come and not even believe in hypnosis. That doesn't mean it's not going to work, but they're going to be a lot more susceptible to other suggestions. So they come hoping that it may work or that it probably won't work, but they're going to try it anyway. And those people are a lot less successful than the people who actually believe it's going to work. Some of it goes back to this is the principle of belief and how powerful it is. You know, when you have faith, you're going to make something happen. You're going to make it work because from that belief come your thoughts, your actions, and your reality. So the power of belief is the actual core of hypnotic work. Lesson number 6, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You know, the movies, Hollywood has made hypnosis look like it's something where someone magically takes over someone else's mind. That is not the case at all. What you're doing as a hypnotist is guiding someone through experiences, through mental processes that enable them to then make their own changes and decisions inside their own mind. So with hypnosis, you can't be given a suggestion that you don't want to accept. If you are, then you will just wake up and not do it. I mean, you still have the power. You have all the power because you are actually hypnotizing yourself. The hypnotist is guiding you into hypnosis. So, a lot of people think if they do hypnosis, they're going to lose their power. Someone's going to have power over them to make them do their bidding or whatever they want to do. That's not how it works. You'll simply just wake up if you're getting suggestions that aren't helpful to you because you still are conscious enough to make those decisions. And you are the actual hypnotist yourself. So all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and you always are in power. You're always in control, and the hypnotist is simply guiding you through the forest. They're their guide through the forest of the mind to help you get the changes that you're looking for. Lesson 7, I won't make you bark like a dog or cluck like a chicken unless you ask me to do so. Plus, I charge extra for that. Barking like a dog or clucking like a chicken, that's stage hypnosis. That's entertainment. A lot of people's first experience with hypnosis is seeing a stage show. And they are absolutely hilarious and really fun. And I've done some stage hypnosis work myself. And it's just so cool. It's a great way to demonstrate the power of people's minds and the power of these tools of hypnosis. And so, a lot of people think that that's what hypnosis is they're going to come and I'm going to just make you bark like a dog or whatever the case may be. What we're doing here is transformation. We're changing lives. We're helping people get rid of old limiting beliefs. We're transforming identity to create different realities. That's my goal here on this channel, in these videos, and in my community temple Transforma. Now, if you want to do some stage hypnosis, all you have to do is ask for that. It can be a lot of fun. There's also all kinds of other fun things you can do with hypnosis, which we will discuss later in this video. But just know that that's stage hypnosis, that's entertainment, that's a lot of fun, that's amazing, and it's most people's introduction into hypnosis. It was my introduction. I first saw a stage show when I was in college, and I let myself be hypnotized. Like in the audience, I didn't go on stage, and then when I woke up, when he stopped talking to everyone and just started talking to the people on the stage, then I woke up and I realized, wow, I was really deeply relaxed and that it was real. So I think that's one of the cool things about stage hypnosis is you realize this is real. And the human mind is incredibly powerful, and hypnosis is the most amazing tool to tap into that power. Lesson 8 is suggestion is the most powerful hypnotic tool. Hypnosis works on the power of suggestion. And as a hypnotist over the last 15 years, I've really learned how to master suggestion, how to make them work, how to make suggestions that bypass the conscious mind, and how to make them created so that the subconscious readily accepts them. There's a lot of different ways that you can make suggestions that do all of those things. And so if you think about it, here's how suggestion works with the human mind. If you tell someone, this is a very famous example, don't look down. What do? You have to look down, because the subconscious doesn't take it doesn't take negatives well, so they just move away, and all it hears is look down. Because to not look down, you have to look down. And that's the way it works. And so understanding the power of suggestion, once you understand that, you can really use hypnosis in an effective way. And we're using it here to help people transform their life, to achieve positive, amazing results. But you got to know the power of suggestion can be used negatively as well, in a way that can manipulate you or get you to do something that you might not want to do just by suggesting it. So, a lot of times you're going to find this in TV and movies and all sorts of places. And the power of suggestion is truly the power of hypnosis, because you don't even have to be in hypnosis for someone to give you a suggestion and it to go in and you to do that thing. So remember that suggestion is is the tool of hypnosis, and mastering the suggestion, mastering how to apply suggestions. As you do that, you become a master hypnotist, and you begin to get more influence in the world. You begin to create more opportunities, more situations for you to succeed in whatever you are trying to accomplish. Lesson 9, hypnosis is backed by science. As we said earlier, a lot of people think hypnosis is just mystical, mysterious, magical work. It's not. It's actually neuroscience and how the brain works. Now, there are a lot of spiritual aspects of hypnosis, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's simply a process of how our brains actually work and can be explained completely by science. If you want to frame it in a spiritual sense, you can do that. You can travel quantum realms. You can do past lives. You can create identity change through all sorts of other ways. But the truth of the scientific backing of hypnosis is really where that power lies, and for some people that is the understanding that they need. Some people are more spiritual, more interdimensional, and some people are just pure science based. And having an understanding of both of those is really helpful, because hypnosis lives in both of those worlds. You know, we have brain waves that you can measure, and you can study how the brain lights up in different ways, whether the subconscious mind is doing something or the conscious mind, and how habits work, and all those things are understood by studying the brain and how it works. Studying the mind, that's the art of hypnosis. And you combine the art and the science together, and you have an incredible change tool. And once you can do that as a hypnotist, then you become somewhat of a master hypnotist, because you got one foot in the art, in the spirit, and you got one foot in the science. And that's truly how you can really have a full understanding of hypnosis. But if you want to just explain it with science, you can certainly do that by understanding the brain, understanding neuroscience, how brain waves work, how habits are changed, and how those things react in the brain. Lesson number 10, identity change is the core of hypnotic success. Your current reality is determined by the identity that you have inside your own mind. How you view yourself, the beliefs you have, the patterns you run are all based on who you are, who you believe you are, your identity. And the truth is, identity can change just like that. We get all these sorts of things between the ages of 0 to 7. Whoever our parents are, our caretakers, whoever is giving us suggestions at that time in our life, we are like a sponge. We take it all in, and those things become a part of who we are. If you're told that you can do anything in life, that becomes a part of your identity, and you tend to live that way as you become an adult. If you're told that you'll never achieve anything, or that you will be a failure, or you'll be an alcoholic like your father, guess what? Those things become part of our identity. They don't always equate into you living that out, but a lot of times they do. And so our identities are just creations that we've developed through our life, and patterns that we've run over and over, and ways that we believe and think about ourselves. So amazing work, amazing changes can be done at the identity level to help you change your reality. One of the most common things I see is people who are overweight, and they have an identity that they will always be overweight. So when they have a little success with a diet, guess what? The identity hasn't changed. They sabotage the diet, and they get right back to where they were, or even maybe a few pounds more. This is also very common in financial world, in financial life. If someone thinks that they will, have a certain financial level all of their life, or that they will live in poverty, as soon as they gather some success or gather some money, they spend it or they sabotage it and get right back to where they're comfortable. It's like a thermometer in a house. If it gets too cold, it kicks on to keep it at that temperature. Your identity determines the temperature at which you live, whether that's in your relationships, in your health, or in your wealth. So the identity is the core of the change work that we do. And if you can change your identity at that level, at the deepest subconscious level, you can change anything in your life. And it all starts there. Lesson 11 is learning self-hypnosis is the key to lasting success. As I said before, you can make some powerful positive changes in one quick session of hypnosis with a professional hypnotist. But the real change happens when you learn how to do this for yourself. When you become your own hypnotist, you become totally free, totally self-sufficient, and not dependent on anyone or anything. If any issues arise in your life, any bad habits, you can break them and you can change them through the power of self-hypnosis. Learn how your mind works, learning how to change it. This is one of the most amazing skills you can ever learn in your entire life. That's why I teach it to all of my clients. That's why I teach it in Temple Transforma, my online community where people are learning hypnosis, learning how to change their own subconscious mind, and learning about Tantra, hypnosis, wealth building, wealth consciousness, freedom business, all of these things to live a life of wealth, health, and freedom. And so learning self-hypnosis is one of the most powerful skills you can ever get as a human being, and it's so important. That's why I really am very passionate about teaching it to you. Lesson 12, hypnosis can be fun. Yes, you can do some very deep work in hypnosis, and sometimes it is very intense. It can be, bring up tears, and you can go through some very difficult, challenging things through working with your subconscious mind. But also, hypnosis can be amazingly fun. There's so many great, beautiful, fun things you can do with it. For example, we talked about stage hypnosis, just the performance of it and showing people the power of the mind and having fun with moving reality, changing it around, hallucinations. Positive hallucinations is things that you think are there that aren't actually there. You're seeing something that's not there. Or negative hallucination is you can take something that's actually there and make it disappear for someone. There's also things you can do like past lives, which can also be very therapeutic, and you can move through some of your challenges with past life work, but it can also be very fun. You see all kinds of doors and windows opening up in your life and in the way you think about the world. There's a lot of things you can do with sexuality. You can use hypnosis recreationally for pleasure, to create orgasmic pleasure, and that can be a lot of fun. So there's absolutely so many things that you can do with hypnosis that's fun, exciting, and just open up the world of possibilities for what you're able to do with the power of the mind. Lesson 13 is almost every healing modality uses some form of hypnosis. Hypnosis has got somewhat of a negative connotation along the way, and sometimes. So, like the movies, as we talked about, Hollywood, people get hypnotized and then go rob a bank or something. That's not how it works. The way that hypnosis came about, broke into the mainstream, was actually on the battlefield in World War II. That hypnotists would go to the battlefield when someone had a serious injury, and they would use hypnosis to calm them down so that they could, try to get some medical attention and fix their issue. And so hypnosis has been used in so many different ways, and now in this time and age, we are in the 2020s here, there's all these other modalities that have sprung up for healing modalities, like you have Reiki, you have like all of these names, guided meditation, which is hypnosis. Almost everything that you do uses some form of hypnosis, and that means just tapping in to the power of your mind, the power of belief, the power of suggestion, and using those things for healing. Because think about it. Faith is one of the oldest healing tools there is. If you have faith in God or faith in some deity, you can perform miracles. It's happened for hundreds and thousands of years. And it's actually the faith itself that is the miracle. That's the power, wonder-working power inside, and we all have access to it. And hypnosis is the tool that I've found that has direct access to faith, to belief, and to the power of the mind. It may come in some other form, it may come under other names, but it's truly the same thing all across the board. There's going to be thousands and hundreds of thousands of millions of modalities that come up, that spring up along the way. But the truth is, they all tap in and use some form of hypnosis, trance work, suggestion, faith, belief, and it all goes back to the same place. And once you learn to master that skill, then you have access to the source. Lesson 14 is hypnosis is used in all kinds of other areas of life, not just in therapy work. You'll find hypnotic principles alive in politics, in marketing, in religious ceremonies, religious organizations, and all kinds of other space if you pay attention to hypnosis and how it works. So, for example, in politics, a lot of times the politician will have a mantra that they repeat over and over again, like a campaign slogan or a couple of mantras about what they want to accomplish, and they will just repeat that over and over. Repetition is one of the most powerful hypnotic tools. You repeat something long enough and as many times as possible, and people, it starts to just sink in. They start to believe it. One quote I think is, you can repeat a lie enough times and people will start to believe it as true. And so that's very much the case in politics. Also, another hypnotic pattern is reframing. Politicians are very adept at reframing, using language, changing the frame so that you can shift a perspective this way or this way. Very, very potent, powerful tools politicians make use of all the time, using hypnosis tools to access the subconscious and change people's minds. Also, marketing. I mean, Madison Avenue are the masters of hypnosis. The TV really showed what's possible with hypnosis. The TV programs, the news, I mean, it just lulls you into a state of deep hypnosis. And then once you're there, boom, you're just given suggestions to buy this product, or your body needs work, so you need this pill, or you need this surgery done to look more beautiful, or you need this car. And that's really tapping into, you're already in hypnosis when you're watching TV, and then all those suggestions are just going right in, and the marketing companies have mastered these tools of hypnosis. Also, you're going to find it in religious ceremonies. Structuring language in a way that makes you just accept certain things, or breaking down confusion is another tool that you confuse the mind, and then you give it a suggestion that goes straight in. And I've noticed this in religious events or sermons that I've heard at church, and I'm always kind of paying attention to the logic, and then it kind of goes this way, and then boom, the suggestion goes in. If you want that suggestion, you're ready for it, then don't even worry about that. But just as a hypnotist, I've learned to pay attention to when these tools are being used and how they're being used. And once you become aware to what is actually going on, you start to see it absolutely everywhere, and it's amazing. And it's very, very powerful to understand what the tools are and how they're being used on you. Lesson 15, hypnosis is the best way to protect your mind and think for yourself. As I just said in the last lesson, you're being bombarded with hypnotic tools all the time. And understanding what they are, what they look like, how they work, is actually the best way to protect yourself from this unwanted influence. So, I mean, as you move through the day, we're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of marketing messages of people that want us to do something, want you to do something. So, understanding the hypnotic tools at work, what's going on, is the best way to actually think for yourself. Because you can realize, is this my thought that I'm having, or is this some other person's thought that was implanted in my subconscious mind? And once you start to pull those things apart, then you are really going to a master level of controlling your own mind. Because then you can really say, what are the beliefs, what are the thoughts, what are the things that I want to think and do? What's coming from me, from inside of me, my heart, my spirit? What do I stand for? And once you can parcel that out and understand that for yourself, then you really pay attention to when other people are suggesting that you do otherwise, things that don't align with who you are, beliefs that you may have about yourself that they want to change and give you another belief so that you might buy this product or join this organization or get behind this politician. The tools of influence are extremely powerful. There's a war out for our minds. To speak in these terms, that's where the battlefield takes place. It's all right here. It's all in the subconscious. There's tools like symbols that organizations and companies use to put in suggestions into your subconscious. Symbols have incredible power deep in the mind. Colors, sounds, all these different modalities. And understanding this, how it works, how hypnosis works, how your mind works, and mastering these tools not only gives you the ability to use them for influence, for health, wealth, whatever you want to accomplish, but also to protect yourself from people who've also mastered these tools who want you to do something for them that maybe you don't want to do. Maybe it's a belief you don't have or don't want to have, or it's a product that you don't need or don't want to buy, whatever it may be. There's no better way to think for yourself, to understand what thoughts are actually coming from you, than understanding the rules and tools of hypnosis. So there you have it, the 15 most powerful tools I've learned in 15 years of hypnosis, hypnotherapy work. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you can take these understandings and change and transform your own life, learn self-hypnosis, and create the reality you desire. If you want to go deeper, I've created an online community called Temple Transforma. And in there, I teach subconscious mastery, I teach Tantra, I teach hypnosis, how to become the hypnotist, I teach wealth building, wealth consciousness, freedom business, and we're building a vibrant community of change makers, people transforming their lives to create the reality they want by hacking reality and creating the future that they desire and dream of. So joining us in there if you want to change your life, and we'll see you in the next video. So until then, explore and enjoy.